The White Sox lost game one of a doubleheader against the Washington Nationals. Thankfully, Erick Fedde and Andrew Vaughn avenged the team in game two. Let's discuss more on Locked On White Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And hello, I'm your host, Todd Welter, a lifelong Sox fan and the site expert of Southside Showdown, part of the Fansided Network. You can check out my written content at southsideshowdown.com. Also, I've covered Major League Baseball for outlets such as the Associated Press back in the day. And thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. Every day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And hey, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox. Smash the like button. Also follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts and leave a 5-star review. Well, mark it down. Andrew Vaughn is officially out of his slump that he had to start the season. I'll talk about his amazing Game 2 performance along with Erick Fedde sticking it to his former team. The Sox lost Game 1, so I'll go over what happened there, along with Pedro Grifol making a comment about rookie Bryan Ramos that really didn't need to be made. And finally, it is way back Wednesday, so let's honor Ivan Calderon. The first from brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need and the prices at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. Well, the White Sox won Game 2 of a doubleheader yesterday. They won 4-0 thanks to two people, Andrew Vaughn and Erick Fedde. Andrew Vaughn hit 2 home runs, including a three-run blast in the third. His batting average is .346 in his last 7 games, raising his average to .211 on the season. That's how bad Andrew Vaughn was to start the season. He goes on a tear, and his average, though, is still just .211. During his last 7 games, he has an OPS of 1.221. So what changed? Well, he gave this quote to Daryl Von Skowron, the Chicago Sun-Times beat reporter. Quote, "Just went back to my roots, trying to simplify everything. Stay up the middle and try to hit the ball hard." End quote. Yeah, that's what you should have been doing the entire time. Square the ball up, look for fastballs, crush fastballs. And if you're not getting fastballs, keep fouling off pitches until you get them. Andrew Vaughn needs to keep playing like he is the last 7 days to prove that he can take the torch from Jose Abreu, who took the torch from Paul Konerko, who sort of took the torch from Frank Thomas because Frank Thomas didn't play a lot of first base. But still, first base is an iconic position for the Chicago White Sox. And Andrew Vaughn was trending towards just being replacement level. He also bounced back from a terrible Game 1. That's probably been the worst game he's had in the 7-game stretch. Grounded out into 2 double plays. I tweeted out under at Locked On Sox. You know, the Sox had a 3-run rally or 2-run rally in the bottom of the 5th, and Andrew Vaughn grabbed a bat and killed it by ending the rally. But man, he came back in with vengeance. I don't know what type of Avenger he would be. He doesn't look like Tony Stark. Yeah, he's kind of clean cut, so maybe Captain America. You know, we all want him to be the leader of the clubhouse. But I don't know if he's going to be that. Definitely doesn't have the looks to be Thor. Doesn't get angry like the Hulk. Maybe he's Maybe he'd be an agent from Shield. But again, Andrew Vaughn, it was getting to the point where at least he's going to hopefully avoid a bad season. Maybe he might be an underachieving season, but he's definitely been breaking out, and it's one of the reasons why the White Sox haven't been playing so well lately. Another reason why the White Sox at least avoid these huge losing streaks that historically bad teams have, Erick Fedde, and definitely he stuck it to his former team. 7 innings of shutout ball, 3 hits, and 6 strikeouts. So what is the difference between when he was a terrible pitcher for the Nats? He posted a 5.41 ERA from 2017 to 2022, just to show you how terrible he was for the Washington Nationals. So what's the difference between that and now, where he is definitely at least the stopper of the Sox rotation? Well, again, this is the quote he gave to the media. Quote, "The difference in the pitcher I am now, I have so many weapons to get back into counts. I can get 2-0 pop-ups like I got today, and I make guys feel uneasy. Even on a 3-0 count, they just can't sit on one pitch." End quote. Yeah, Fedde had to go to the KBO, had to go to Korea, and had to add some pitches. And that's definitely going to humble you because you go from, I believe he was a top draft pick with the Nationals. You go from that to having to go overseas just to keep playing baseball. You're going to do what it takes to get back to the show. And he's added some pitches. He also, he was the MVP of the KBO. He is definitely the White Sox MVP at the quarter mark of the season. So the Sox have played just a little bit over 25% of their games, and he's been probably the most consistent performer the White Sox have had. Unfortunately, he only gets to play every 5 days. But man, when he's on the mound, he has been so valuable to the White Sox. And the White Sox need to win this series if they just want to stay garden variety bad. But Erick Fedde has definitely done a better job of, varietying his pitches. That's the one thing they said back with the Nationals. He was kind of sticking to certain pitches, and he was just getting rocked. And he really went over to the KBO to learn how to pitch. Because if you've got velocity, yes, you can be a thrower. But, what makes most pitchers special is that they can actually pitch. They know how to mix in their pitches. And Erick Fedde has definitely shown that. Well, not everything was great yesterday as the Sox lost game 1. Let's talk about that loss and a bad comment made by Pedro Grifol. Well, what else is new? But let's talk about that next on Locked On White Sox. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. And hey, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Well, make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day. to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And the White Sox and the Washington Nationals wrap up their 3-game series today, starting at 1:10 p.m. Central Time. Can the Sox win another series? Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. And welcome back into Locked On White Sox. I am your host, Todd Welter, and thank you for making the show your first listen. And also make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox. Smash that like button. Also follow or subscribe to the show on wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, leave a 5-star review. And I know there's plenty of White Sox podcasts out there. I just ask that I be your first listen. You know, you can sprinkle in CHGO White Sox Talk, the Au Jus from the 108, Good Guys Talk Back, the Blackout Show, Sox in the Basement. We are a well-ratioed podcast fan base. I just ask you make me the first listen because I'm here every day. Well, the Sox lost game 1, 6-3. So that's why the coffee tastes okay. For those listening via podcast, I'm drinking out of my White Sox mug again. As you know, I love my coffee. And I'm just going to tell you, the coffee's pretty good. Anyways, Sox lost game 1, 6-3. Eloy Jimenez hit the first home run Trevor Williams has given up this season. And he gave the White Sox an early lead. And that's actually impressive because Williams, he must have made some adjustments because he gave up a lot of home runs last season. And for it to be May 15th for him to give up his first dinger of the season, well, that's an accomplishment for Eloy after the adjustments Williams made. His counterpart on the mound, Chris Flexen, he was just okay on the mound. He kept finding himself some trouble, but found ways to get out of it until the 5th inning. That's when the Piper came to call. He allowed 3 runs, and his pitch count was up at that point. So he was pulled before the final out of the inning. Flexen needs to petition the league to have him just face the Rays every time he's on the mound. Like every time he's set to start, Sox get to play the Rays because he has dominated the Tampa Bay Rays. Everyone else, well, he's been a bit shaky. You know, he was demoted to the bullpen after only 3 starts this season. Did all right out of the bullpen, earned his spot back, and he had 3 straight starts, 2 of which against the Rays, where he was absolutely dazzling. But yesterday looked more like that pitcher that he looked like a mix. He looked more like that pitcher that got demoted to the bullpen, but he wasn't so awful where you're going to be like, yeah, let's send this guy to the bullpen, like they just sent Michael Soroka to. Final line was 4 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks, and 86 pitches. The Sox did rally back in the 5th with 2 runs to tie the game up. Rookie Bryan Ramos was outstanding in this game. He started the rally with a single, and then he got all the way to the 3rd on Nicky Lopez's single. And it appeared to be a very aggressive base running move because it wasn't like Nicky blasted the ball. But then again, when does Nicky Lopez actually hit the ball far and hard? But made an aggressive base running move to get to 3rd. He was safe thanks to a throwing error. And hey, even the broadcast complimented Ramos for being aggressive. You know, aggressive on the base pass, part of fast. Well, manager Pedro Grifol didn't like it because, quote, I didn't like the fact that he missed a hit and run sign. Nicky did a good job there, and he missed a hit and run. He made the play a little closer than what it should have been, end quote. Why, Pedro? Why did you have to say that? You have the future at third base who's been playing great since he was called up. He's actually one of the few things that is worth watching. And you criticize him for missing a sign. He still got in there. Now, he got hurt running from first to third, and we'll get to that in a second. But you're criticizing a rookie. He loves to do this. And I don't get it. There's no criticizing Gavin Sheets for missing the cutoff man in the top of the fifth that allowed the trailing runner to get to second. And then instead of the inning ending being 2-1 because that runner would have been at first had Andrew Vaughn just hit the cutoff man, instead goes to second. Menendez hits a 2 RBI single instead of a 1 RBI single. Sox then next inning could have been up 3-2. We don't know. It's a whole different ball game. No mention about Gavin Sheets. No mention about anytime veterans make mistakes. But guys like Oscar Colas, they go in the doghouse. Now, yes, Oscar Colas, for example, did go into business for himself last year by constantly missing the cutoff hitter. But he also had high potential, still does, and now he's now he's just sitting in AAA. This isn't, Grinders era anymore. Okay, Ramos missed the sign, still got the third base. You don't need to say that. You did not need to call out a young player. That's something that maybe you want to have a private conversation with, but I don't need to know about that. I don't need to know that he missed a sign. Schriffen even broadcasted it. Great aggressive base running move. Leave it at that. Leave us thinking that. But nope, we got to know that, hey, he missed a sign. Give me a break. And yes, Ramos exited the game later with quad tightness. Seriously, what is going on with these soft tissue injuries? Now, he's day-to-day, but to me, this is one of the exceptions. I mean, I want Ramos to stay up after Mendick comes back, but if he's even got some quad tightness, give him 10 days rest. Because his development is too important for the White Sox. Although maybe it is just needs to be loosened up. Okay, maybe I'm overreacting on putting him on the 10-day IL. But seriously, what is going on? I know the White Sox fired the previous training staff when they had all these injuries, but it's the same thing. I mean, are they just going like the lowest salary possible? I mean, do the White Sox have the worst luck possible? Where now Ramos is going to join Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, and Luis Robert Jr. with these soft tissue injuries? Are like these four players the most tightly wound, muscled up guys? Like their muscles are so tightly wound that you can't stretch them out, that they can't do yoga or Pilates or anything to get more flexible? I don't get it. And it's frustrating. And yes, I understand injuries happen, but you don't want soft tissue injuries to happen. Hire a yoga instructor. I'm sorry, Pedro just infuriates me. You didn't need to call him out. Especially after he leaves the game with an injury where now we're all like, well, now he's officially a White Sox. John Brebbia, he gave up 3 runs in the 8th, and the Sox lost game 1. Sox are now 13-30 on the season. And we know it's going to be a long season, so that's why every Wednesday I want to talk about the good times. So let's get in the time machine as it is way back Wednesday. And let's show Ivan Calderon some love next on Locked On White Sox. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Hey, Garrett Crochet pitches today for the White Sox. Maybe you're thinking he'll continue to be a stud pitcher. Why not make some selections and have some winnings come in to back up that thought? Or again, you don't like a player. Maybe reward not liking that player by picking him to not hit picking less. So then that way your rooting interest can be reinforced to say, I don't like this guy. And I got some winnings off of it. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePick entry today. PrizePicks is simple to play. You make your picks and submit an entry in less than 60 seconds. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Simple, easy, and fun. That's what I like right there. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And the White Sox and Washington Nationals wrap up their 3-game series today, starting at 1:10 p.m. Central. Can the Sox win another series? Well, catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. And again, welcome back into Locked On White Sox. I am your host, Todd Welter. And if you've stuck with me this long during the show, really appreciate it. Love you, everydayers. Although the guy that comments that my eyes are going all over the place in the YouTube channel, just want to let you know, again, I have my notes a little bit off to the side because I want to make, you can't just improv everything. And again, I keep trying to find the camera. I'm doing my best, man. Doing my best. And again, yeah, feel free to leave comments, but, and don't call me a snowflake here, but why can't we be nice? Like, if you want to stand on my shoulders and say you're tall, I'm not that tall. But otherwise, love you everydayers, love your comments. So we know the season is not going to be a good one. Again, the Sox are 13-30. So let's discuss some better times, or even better, random Sox players. Sorry, honey, we can't go out. I'm talking about the 1988 roster. So every Wednesday is going to be Way Back Wednesday. And today, Ivan Calderon is your Way Back Wednesday player. Shout out to former host of Locked On White Sox, Herb Lawrence, for being the inspiration as he posted an amazing play Calderon made, posted it on Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter. Calderon made an amazing catch to rob Alan Trammell of a home run at Tiger Stadium. He literally climbed the wall at Tiger Stadium. And Tiger Stadium used to have it was like a half fence, half wall. There was enough of a gap between, I believe it had out of town scoreboards where, yes, you could, if you hopped up, you had a little bit more of a landing than to hop again. But he went up enough, he got up enough to rob Alan Trammell of a home run. Calderon played 10 big league seasons with 6 on the South Side. This was a guy who could hit for power, and he could steal a base when need be in an era when stealing bases were a thing. Yes, there was a time where you didn't need to extend make the bases bigger, and people were constantly stealing bases. It was awesome. Ricky Henderson, Tim Raines. Those guys were Hall of Famers because they could steal bases. Now, yes, everybody figured out that unless you're like Lou Whitaker, you're very fast, you should just go station to station. Why run into outs? But still, it was entertaining. In 6 seasons with the White Sox, Calderon had a career slash line of 273, 332, 451, 70 home runs, 53 stolen bases. 1987 was one of his best seasons with the Sox, as he had a slash line of 293, 362, and 526, and 28 dingers. 1990, he stole 32 bases on that worst to 90 win games team. And he was definitely pretty much the only entertaining player to watch in 1989 after the Sox traded Harold Baines. First trade that broke my heart. And yeah, if you were born in the late 70s, early 80s, and grew to love the White Sox, those late 80s teams were brutal to watch. But watching Ivan Calderon hit, it's pretty fun. He made his lone All-Star game in 1991 with the Expos. Calderon did return to the Sox in 1993 for a 9-game stint. Heck of a player on Sega that year, but not actually on the field. I think I had Ivan Calderon on my Sega game. He hit a home run like in every game that I played. Calderon tragically passed away in 2003 in his native Puerto Rico. Sadly, he was shot to death. He was in a store. 2 people entered and without word, shot the former outfielder multiple times in the back. Gone too soon. But yeah, he was fun to watch. And definitely a guy that I should try to find a throwback jersey of. He was like trying to think of like the player from the last rebuild that was like not flashy, put up decent numbers. I don't want to disrespect him with Nicky Delmonico, but definitely a hero to this to a young Todd Welter when he was a Sox fan. Well, in the early stages of my Sox fandom. Well, that wraps up this edition of Locked On White Sox. Before I go, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. And I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Sox finishing up their series with the Nationals. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at Locked On White Sox. Smash the like button and give a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts. And let me know your thoughts on today's topics regarding Erick Fedde and Andrew Vaughn avenging the White Sox in Game 2 of the doubleheader. You can leave them on X, formerly Twitter, at ToddJDub, or you can email me at lockedonwhitesox@gmail.com. Again, that's lockedonwhitesox@gmail.com. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.